You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Now we answer questions you've received from you, our viewers. If you have a question yourself, you can visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com. Okay, Brother Shabir, the first question, can a Muslim go to the funeral of a non-Muslim?
Yes, there's no harm in doing so. The question arises because in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there were certain hypocrites who were pretending to be Muslims and at the same time working actively in the background to demolish the structure of the Muslim community. And this posed a great danger to the community, a physical danger where they could be attacked by enemy forces from the outside, with those conniving from the inside. And so the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was being warned against these people, and some of the Quranic revelation spoke about them and said that you should not pray for them and don't stand on their graves, meaning in a respectful manner to go and attend their funeral. So some thought of this as a kind of a general rule, meaning that non-Muslims, you can't attend their funerals. But that's not what the verses are speaking about. It's speaking about those people who were so actively enemies of the Muslim community and sowing discord and plotting to demolish the community from within. Most non-Muslims do not fit this sort of description.
Okay. Here's another question. This is an individual who wants to study but is wondering if student loans like OSAP are okay if there is no other alternative.
Yes, and I say so clearly because the Quran speaks against interest, and in classical Islamic law it is understood that both the giving of interest and taking of interest are forbidden. And the hadith actually equates the two, the giving of interest, the taking of interest, the writing the contract, and even being a witness for this contract. But essentially, the Quran makes a distinction between the giving and taking. Giving interest may be because someone is helpless and you can't do anything but take a loan on interest. But receiving interest, there's no excuse for that. And receiving interest is essentially what is bad according to the Quran. Because receiving interest is in a way oppressing the person who is in that helpless condition. They need the money, you got the extra money, you're lending it to them, and you're not satisfied just getting back what you lent, you want more. Mm-hmm. So this is greed, and this is what the Quran is against. And the Quran actually declares war against the people who will take interest because they're oppressing the poor. If we think back of ancient societies, sometimes people were enslaved because of the interest that they owed. Because, of course, in the first place, they took a loan because they were helpless, and then they had to pay interest compounded. And sometimes the only way to get out of that was actually to sell themselves mm-hmm. As a price for that, in which case they're in worse situation than being indebted. They're now enslaved. So what is essentially forbidden then is taking interest. And because that is so spoken of against, so condemned in the Quran, the giving of interest also is to be avoided, but sometimes it's not easy to avoid, especially if we need to get an education. We cannot prescribe for Muslim students that they cannot take the OSAP loans or whatever loans are available, because in that case we might be prescribing for them not to have an education, and that cannot be a long-term strategy for any community, much more so for the Muslim community.
So for matters of need, then, one can take a loan?
Yes, if one needs to buy a house, one needs to have an education, for such good purposes, that it's permissible to take a conventional mortgage or a loan, in which case the Muslim will have to pay interest. It's not desirable, but it is permissible.
All right, thank you for that, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
That's all the time we have. For updates and additional information, please visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com. And write to us, because your comments and questions help guide the show. I'm Safiya Ali. For all of us here at Let the Quran Speak, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.